tradition.
Welcome, shit pigs. Welcome.
Shitty ass pigs.
The pigs is shit.
Today's gonna be relaxed fit episode. It's gonna be a fucking, what are those things called? Sweatpants episode.
Sweatpants episode. It's kind of like all of our episodes, except for they were planned.
Yeah.
In the beginning, at least.
Yeah.
I'm bleeding pretty good. That was a good one.
What'd you? Oh.
Oh, it's still coming.
Oh Lord. Oh God! Did you just? Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! Aaron has popped a massive. Was it a pimple or a zit? Because I know you.
What's the difference?
I've never had a pimple, Aaron. I mean, I've had one pimple.
Oh, the pimples are like the ones without heads. Is
Yes.
it? Oh, okay. No, I've had millions of those. No.
That's what I'm saying. You get the you. I've seen you get, dude. I've seen you with some gnarly acne. I will say.
Oh yeah, I was a pizza face at one point. I still got the scars to prove it.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah, you used to have like the big old like the kid from Fairly Odd Parents, the Boyle kid. It was like that, but they wouldn't last long. They just.
I just go on a popping spree. I have scars, fucking scabs all over my face. I look like a fucking meth head at like 16. But I was completely sober. Uh-oh. Should probably turn mine down too. It is a chilly one up in the mitten.
Yeah, it's starting to get cold up here again. Seems like summer just started. It's fucking September 18th, and that means it's time for fall, I guess.
I miss the South so badly. Only in this time of the year. The rest of the time, I don't mind Michigan because it's like not fucking balls to the walls.
Summertime is nice.
Balls to the walls hot.
Summertime is nice in Michigan. Winter is okay. I know. So, Aaron, you remember that time?
I remember lots of times.
You remember that
in the winter, man.
I know, but do you remember that time that we went to go get pizza?
Yes. Yes, I do. In Ann Arbor?
Yeah, go ahead and tell our good people just a little bit about that little adventure.
Well, we were out of food.
Of course, like always.
Like
I don't think we ever had food in that house,
Except
Aaron.
for pizza.
We never once stocked that house with groceries, and the only time we did it was Thanksgiving. And I remember one time I ate just pie filling with nothing else.
We literally stole a shopping cart.
We didn't steal a shop. We needed the shopping cart. We borrowed it and didn't take it back
Yeah.
because we had no car. So what are we supposed to do? We had a keg, a turkey.
Cops even passed by and didn't even look twice. They was like, no. Happy Thanksgiving.
Ann Arbor cops. There's like, we're not stopping. Fuck that.
Fucking, I was carrying the keg, cart full of groceries, and that honestly only lasted like a week, if that. So anyways, so we go to get pizza. We scrounge together what little change we have. And, dead of winter. I'm talking like...
It was a snowstorm.
It was a snowstorm.
Things were like closed. Everything was closed except for one pizza place.
We were out walking just to try to get something simple. I think I only had like fucking 15, 20 bucks on him. Or us. And, we were going to go somewhere else at first, and they were closed. Then turns out everywhere was closed. And then I searched for the closest fucking place that was open, and it was pizza. I don't even remember what it was called.
It was like Papa Sal's Pizzeria or something.
Yeah.
But Ann Arbor might as well have been Hoth that day because literally you couldn't see more than like 20 foot in front of you, and it was just snowing.
It was so bad I had a homeless man take pity on me. And because I wasn't wearing a hat. And he's like, man, your mama will be ashamed of you. He's like, get yourself a hat on. Granted, I had long hair, but it was also frozen. And
Yeah, I remember when we walked into that place, we both were covered in little mini icicles.
so much that when we sat down, we were dripping on the table.
Yeah, we were thawing, literally.
We had to ask for napkins and towels.
And we ate the shit there, and the people were like surprised that we were even there because I was surprised that they were there. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
'cause it was that bad.
It was a fucking ghost town.
And we were the only people in there. We walked. It's an hour walk from our fucking apartment to downtown, and it wasn't even center downtown. It was like on the other side of
yeah.
downtown. I've never even been to that part of town before. I'm like, what the fuck, man? And I worked in that downtown. I walked down there every fucking day.
Yeah, that was
Pizza was fucking amazing, though.
It
I wish I knew what it was called.
If I go to look up pizza in Ann Arbor, you're just gonna find like 50 places.
Yeah, but only one that's open in a snowstorm.
Goddamn right.
That should be their fucking motto, dude. That's like they're the UPS
Rain,
of
sleet, or
pizza.
snowstorm. We're in Michigan.
Yeah.
You can have your pizza.
That's right. I do love. That's what I loved about Ann Arbor. It was like living in a weird mystical dream when we were living there because we were so young. I just remember. I mean,
So many drugs.
I was 20. Yeah, but I'm talking about even when I was sober. Like we would be in the alley from B-Dubs.
Yeah.
Working at B-Dubs. We'd be in the alley taking trash out, smoking cigarettes, and I just remember it was this weird feeling. It was probably because I had no family, and I was just working at this fucking glorified McDonald's with my best friend. But there was something. There was like a weird, like a feeling like that in Polar Express when the little bits of snow just kind of fly through the air, and like it just looks cool.
It's like a euphoric feeling.
Yeah, even when the eggs were getting thrown at what's his name.
That was so great.
That's another good story we should tell. We should try to tell all our good Ann Arbor stories today. Oh man.
So good old B-Dubs. Let me just backtrack. This guy named Victor fucking grew up as my role model. And I wanted to fucking be this dude. Anyways, fast forward. And I end up working with him at B-Dubs. Gets me a job there. Because he's been working there for fucking years. This dude just works nonstop. And I get Matt a job there. And then we end up living together in Ann Arbor. So one day, we're out in the alleyway, taking the trash out, having a smoke break, and all of a sudden, up above us, there's just a bunch of people making noise, and Victor, as his cocky self, and the manager, because he was trying to be cool with Victor, yelled back, and started to get, kind of noisy with him. Then, the eggs came. All of a sudden, these motherfuckers started dropping eggs out of, like, the 4th story window on top of Victor and the manager. What was his name? Chris?
No. Chris was the other guy.
There was, like, 3 Chris's, though.
Chris. Oh. Okay, because there was Chris with the short stubble beard.
July.
Well, he's the guy that yelled at me one time about wings and like ruined my day. And then there was the manager we're talking about is the guy that had the NBA tattoo on his back, which I only saw because he took his shirt off because he got hit with an egg. Oh my god!
These motherfuckers went up there to try to find him too and couldn't.
Yeah, they went into the apartment building.
Yeah, they were gonna whoop some ass.
They said that they were gonna call the apartment building owner and
I was like waiting to see somebody fly out that window, just hoping. And then they just came down, and manager just got all pissy pants and took his shirt off, and he had like a fucking big ass scar across his stomach, like he had gallbladder surgery or something, and a horribly done NFL tattoo on his back.
No, it was NBA.
Was it NBA?
It was the guy with the fucking holding his arm out with the ball in his hand.
It
was the
Jordans.
Logo? It was Michael Jordan's, right?
Oh, I don't remember. I know it was something stupid.
Okay, I don't know this because I'm not a sport fan, but I want to say that the little logo of the guy going like this.
Yeah, that's the Jordans.
Yeah, that's the Jordans. He had a fucking Jordans tattoo. The guy, the fucking bald dude on his. It might as well have been a tramp stamp, but it was on his hip. It was on his hip fat.
It was too. I was thinking it was like on his shoulder, but
No,
you're
it was
right.
on his.
It was a completely awkward spot.
It was a weird spot for a tattoo. And this dude doesn't even have tattoos.
It was the only one.
I've seen weird old trailer trash white construction workers with tramp stamps. You remember that fucking one dude in
I
Georgia?
remember.
He had a Marilyn Manson tattoo on his calf.
Yep.
He was totally cool guy, but he had a tramp stamp. Yeah. Interesting people. Interesting people.
Let's see. Well, there's always the acid story.
Oh, fuck.
You can tell that one.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
your experience.
Okay. All right. This will be good. So if I ever have to tell anyone this story, I can just tell them listen to the podcast. Because I've told this fucking story a
100
million,
times. I've even told it, and it's mostly about him.
so many fucking times. All right. So, yeah, the story starts with me. So I was partying with some people, the party people of Ann Arbor, which is Ben Saylor and all of his friends.
You probably shouldn't mention names, but that's okay.
He
Ben
does-
Saylor's
I don't think he even
mentionable.
goes by that name anymore.
I think he's like Mother Goose or something now.
Okay, well you just said it, but cool guy. And we were hanging out with that whole crew, which if you know him, you know who you are. And so I bought some acid from some Asian kid, or no, little. He was like a Mexican, but he was smaller, so he looked
obsessed
Asian.
with my fucking bone structure. Remember him like fucking talking about like, oh, do you use a protein shake?
That was a different guy.
Oh,
The guy that you're talking about though, he looked at me because I was okay. So I've always been chubby growing up. I'm getting better now, but
you
when
were skinny then.
I was skinny then, yeah, I was skinnier because I had to walk to fucking work every day, and it was an hour walk there and back. Okay, but yeah, this kid, but I still had a little bit of chub on me, had maybe a little something, a little stomach or something, because this guy was like, man, if I had your body. And I was like, what? Because I was really self-conscious. I was just like, man, I fucking hate myself. I'm so fat. And this kid was like, man, he was jealous as fuck. And he looked like, he was maybe like 4 or 5. Remember, he was like blonde though. And he was
like a Shane style.
He was real small guy.
Yeah.
But he had some muscles on him though,
Yeah.
unlike Shane. And this guy was like looking at me like, cause like I was big, I was tall, and I was just like I had big bone structure and shit. And fucking, he was like, yeah, if I had that body, dude, I would work out and I'd turn into a fucking tank. So that's paraphrasing, but he was like drooling over my fucking body that I hated at the time, and I was like, I don't understand this shit. But no, he literally offered to go out and get me protein shakes. He's like, man, I will fucking help you. I will fucking help you work out and become a monster.
I did not hear that part, so that just makes it even better.
This is before you got there.
Yeah, because he did basically the same thing to me.
Yeah, so this is before me and Aaron's fucking story. This is just my story. I'm hanging out at this place. This kid says that shit to me. I buy some acid off this other kid.
Yeah, you were already on it before I got there.
Yeah. So I bought like
a lot.
I bought a lot of acid from this guy. I don't even remember how many strips. It was a couple strips, but it was like 30 hits altogether or something like that. Or
Yeah, something like that.
it was stupid. And I took a couple hits. And did this happen? Do you remember when I called? No, that was cocaine. That was
that was after.
That was. I'm starting to get my experiences jumbled up.
Oh, that'll be the next story.
That was with Aaron skateboarding through the streets of Ann Arbor in a snowstorm.
Another snowstorm.
Another snowstorm. I don't even know how he did it, to be honest. It amazes me. But anyway, we'll tell that story one day. But okay, so I'm like, I take the acid and I'm like skateboarding around Ann Arbor, and I end up going back home. and I surprised Aaron with the acid, or maybe I called him and told him I had.
No,
You picked me up, I think, actually.
No, I met you at the place that you were at after I
Did
got out
you?
of work. Yeah.
See, I,
You were
this,
hyping me up at
I was
work.
really
so
high.
I was
at
like,
this
I know
point.
you were hyping me up while I was at work, and I was like, all right, man, just stay there. Fucking don't go anywhere. I was like, I know exactly where you're at. I'll be right over. And I think I skateboarded over there because I was on the other side of town. And then I gave you the skateboard because that's what I was using as my main source of transportation. As soon as we moved into that fucking apartment, because I was working at Abbott's and B-Dubs.
It wasn't even a good skateboard either.
No.
That's the best part about that. Is it was like a shitty. I don't want to say it was the Walmart $10 ones. I want to say it was a little better than that, but it wasn't much better. It was in between those shitty ones with like the plastic trucks, and in between that and like a legit skateboard. But it was not a legitimate skateboard.
Yeah, it sucked. But
Yeah, that and stolen bike was our fucking vehicles for back in those days.
So I ride the skateboard over to you, and then I fucking get there. I get there, and I walk in, and Ben answers the door. I haven't seen Ben in a while. You know, a good minute.
And you guys are good buddies, and
Yeah,
because I
way
barely
back.
know Ben.
I went to school with Ben in like 5th grade when I first moved here. Well, first moved to Britain when I was like fucking 8 years old or 10. And as soon as I got there, he left and went to Tecumseh. And then he fucking went goth and just became awesome. And I had hung out with him a bunch of times prior, but I hadn't seen him for like years until I saw him that night. And he answered the door, and I didn't know he was going to be there. And I was like, oh, shit, Ben Saylor. And then he was like, Matt, you said your friend Aaron was coming over.
I remember this.
You're like, you didn't say it was Aaron fucking Sanders.
Yes, it's literally word for word, dude. Oh man, I was just like laying on the floor at this point, I think, or like sitting on the couch, and I remember I had done a pastel painting.
Yeah.
And
Oh, it's all coming back to you now. Huh?
it was a real cool painting. I left it there. I think I might have went back and got it at some point, but it was real cool. But yeah, so we basically really long story, kind of shorter. We get back to the apartment, and I'm already like I'm coming down a little bit. Like I'm probably good off of my first couple I took.
And I just took 2.
So he just took 2, and I'm like still just coming down. I'm sitting on the couch, not even doing anything yet. This is how quick, like, so we get home, take a little bit, and I'm sitting down. Maybe 5 minutes in, I'm just sitting there. I probably would have just put in a game or something, or I don't even know what I would have done that day. But, and I will never know, because Aaron was like, hey, bro. I'll never forget this shit ever in my whole life. And you were like, hey, bro. And I was like, yeah, what's up? And you had like this devilish look. And you're like, what if we just took the rest of it? And I was like, what? Like, pure like just curiosity and amazement that you would even offer to do such a thing. Like, I was like, oh, I never even thought of that. What? And you're just like, yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, right? I mean, you know, people do it all the time. I don't think you said that, but
I think that's probably exactly what I said.
Maybe.
At that time in my life, that's probably exactly what I said.
Yeah, but I just remember we split the rest of the acid. And whatever it was, we had at least an extra like 10 hits each, at least. And
then we put in the wall.
Oh my god. And then what?
Then we put in the wall.
Oh my god. Did we? Well, we did watch The Wall that time, yeah.
That's how
we watched the whole movie, and this was early on in the day, too.
Every time that we've tripped. Yeah, I know, because it was like I just got off work, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning when I met up with you. We just didn't go to sleep.
Oh my god, that's probably why I had such a bad trip. But fucking, we watched Wall, and yeah, we did. I remember that because I remember crying with Next to You when he played that when they were doing the one song where he's like, I don't remember the exact lyrics right now, but the part about the piano. And there's something about that part of that song where just like it got to me hard. And I think we skipped the
The fucking cheating scene.
what's her name? I can't. Vera, what has become of you?
No.
Vera.
We both looked at each other.
We,
Like, nope.
Yeah, we skipped Vera. Right. We were like, we can't do this shit right now. But yeah, we watched.
This is also like the third time that we've tripped acid and watched this.
Yeah,
movie.
this is
We
a
kinda made it
ritual.
tradition.
We haven't done it in a minute. We should definitely at least drink some beers probably and smoke a lot of weed and watch it. Because I microdosed a while ago and that was cool, but I haven't actually taken acid. Not since this, but in a while. But yeah, anyway, so we finished The Wall. It was great. Like, a great memory, too. Like, that was a really good time watching The Wall. I just remember just being blown the fuck away. Because every time I watch it on acid, it's just like, it's so intense. But, yeah, we're like, okay, well, what do we do now? And, we had no money, nothing. Spent all my money on the acid. And, basically, oh, God. Aaron was like, you know what? Another, like, devilish look on his face. He's like, I just had the greatest idea, or you know what we should do, one of the two. And it was, your idea was to go to Pinball Pete's.
I reached in my pocket.
Oh, is that what it was? You pulled out the 50 cents, right?
It was 2 quarters.
It was literally 2 quarters. And he was like, what if we walked to Pinball Pete's just to play one game? And I was like, oh, fuck. That sounds so fucking amazing. And like, oh my, I'm getting chills just thinking about this shit. Because
it was a great idea.
It was a great idea. And at the time, it was still like tripping well. It was going well. And,
we're getting like all ready.
Yeah, I remember we were getting all of our fucking gear on. Had all kinds of protection from the cold weather.
Put on like 3 jackets and shit.
Oh man, yeah. So we're walking, and we're like, I remember this so fucking well too, bro. Because this is like one of those near-death experiences, where like you get in a car crash and you remember every little bit of it because it was so intense.
Oh, I remember every little bit of it because I had to take care of it.
Yeah, dude.
While tripping.
Dude, that part of the story is great, and we're almost there. So we get all of our fucking gear on. All the jackets. This is the weirdest part of it all because I had plenty of clothing on. And so we leave, and I remember 100% we were talking this shit up so much on our way out. We had passed, I don't remember what was said on that the drive that was like an S. Mm-hmm. Well, we got past that out onto the sidewalk, and I remember I remember the whole sidewalk. Ever since we got to the sidewalk, that's where my memory starts basically. And so we're walking, and you're just like, man, I'm fucking so pumped to play this Street Fighter. And I'm like, yeah, dude, it's going to be so badass. And it was like, I remember it being so vibrant in my head and being in such a good mood. And we were like so pumped. And we're like, going to go fucking play this game. And we're like, oh, I'm so fucking high. It was like, we're just so happy. And then all of a sudden, like literally, dude, like a fucking movie. Like just, oh my God. Just like if the sky just should have turned black, dude. Because like... nothing in the environment changed, but like my mind or something, I don't even understand what the fuck happened. But the whole mood for me, like went
like
and
a
just,
fucking plane going down.
Dude, it was so bad. I don't even know why. We were like literally laughing and like hyping up, going there, and like I was
probably got a big old fucking gust of cold wind right in the face from the car going by.
Maybe, but I don't know.
This was also another snowstorm.
No, it wasn't even snowy.
It was just freezing.
It was just really fucking cold. And that's why we had all this shit on. But I remember, yeah, dude, it's like my whole mood shifted. And I looked down at my hands. It was like one of those moments where I looked at my hands and I was like, oh, I remember that. And like I had lost weight because I remember my arms were like that. So I was like, oh God. I'm like, but like, in my head, it like went to the extreme. So it was like I felt like I was like a Holocaust survivor, dude. Like I just felt super bony, and it was just a weird moment. And then I couldn't breathe, and I tried talking to you, and then I couldn't. You couldn't hear me.
You were trying to fucking say something, and I was like, "What?" And you were just like, "We gotta go back." And I was like,
yeah.
I was like, "What are you? I can't hear you, dude." And you were just like,
yeah, I couldn't even. I had no breath, so I couldn't get words out.
like hyperventilating. I was like, "Are you all right?" And you just like turned around. I was like, "Okay, we're going back." And you were just like, "I think I'm dying, bro." Continue.
Yeah, and that was pretty much all I said. That was my fucking dialogue for the rest of the story. Was I'm fucking dying. But basically, we turned around and I got to the point where I like couldn't take in any breath for some reason. I don't know why. If I was just having a panic attack, but I don't know why I would have one because I wasn't like I was going through some trauma.
Well, you were on fucking 10 hits.
I was
of
on
acid.
a lot of fucking acid. But what I'm saying is like we were having a good talk and we're just walking and all of a sudden like the whole mood shifted and I couldn't breathe anymore. Like I was still breathing but I couldn't like taking a deep breath and I was just way too fucking high.
I remember fucking sitting there with you on the curb. Like we got back to
yeah,
the
you had
pavement.
to army walk me basically up to the front of the apartment complex and then I sat down there.
I had to sit you down a couple times before that. We got back down the sidewalk, back to the fucking driveway, like right before. As soon as
where
you
that
come
stone
in.
was. There was
Yeah.
like a stone, and I remember sitting down in front of that, and I was like, Aaron, I'm sorry, bro. And you're like, why are you sorry? And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to die on you. And it was it was like Saving Private Ryan moment, except just me really high.
You were just like, I want my mom. Like I think I'm really gonna die, Aaron. I'm like you legitimately thought. You
I
were gonna
fucking
die.
100%. I could swear on my life right now that I thought I was gonna die on that day. I don't know why. I couldn't breathe and I couldn't talk. He couldn't hear me. And so we get into the apartment. He fucking army carries me into the apartment again. Well, into the apartment, and so I go right to the bathroom. I don't. Oh no! Wait, before I even got into the bathroom, Aaron, this is the best. This is the silver lining of the acid thing. Because you know what? It was worth it for this memory, dude. I was like, Aaron, I need some fucking water, dude. Because like I felt like I was dehydrated and shit. And this motherfucker brings me.
Hold on. I panicked because I'm trying to take care of you while you think you're dying, and I looked around. To fucking get you the closest thing I could.
That was liquid, apparently. He was like, he needs liquid. Nothing else came into mind. Because he hands me a coffee mug full of black coffee. I am like tripping my dick off. I think I'm dying. And
It's cold, I'm sure.
It was really cold and gross. It might have had cigarette butts in it or something. God knows. God fucking knows what was in that coffee, man. And I remember drinking, I was like, this fucking coffee, and I threw it on the ground. And then,
You did apologize, though. You're like, I'm sorry. And then walked to the bathroom.
Oh, man. That moment was just so intense, too, because I was like, oh, man. I was like, I really wanted some water. And then I just remember, I've never had such a more intense memory of putting like something in my mouth and like drinking something, you know? And I just remember putting that, like instantly just be like, oh, what? It was like my body rejected it. It was like, what the fuck is this shit?
That's how you acted, too.
Oh, man.
That's exactly how you acted. Okay, so anyways, you fucking run to the bathroom, start the bathtub, don't even get undressed.
Oh my god.
And at the time, granted, Matt had green hair.
Oh, I forgot about this.
He wanted to be Joker for Halloween prior, or yeah. So
Well, Olivia fucking wanted to bleach my hair, so I had blonde hair for a while. And I was like, I can't do this shit. And it just happened to be around Halloween. So I was like, you know what? We're going to fucking dye this shit green.
I totally forgot that she bleached it first.
Yeah, she bleached it. I had fucking bleached blonde hair for like a minute.
Yeah. So, anyways, this motherfucker, he gets in the bathtub, and he has his cat. At the time, we had Soon High Dose. Little shit.
He liked boiled eggs, though. He would eat boiled eggs.
He's a dope kitty, but he was a little asshole. So he had his cat while sitting in the bathtub with the water running, fully clothed, green hair, slicked back, tripping balls,
So hard.
begging me to call an ambulance
Begging.
because he legitimately thought he was fucking
And I
dead.
remember being in the tub with the water going, and I had the cat on me.
And banging on the
I
walls.
was banging on the tub, and I was like, I felt like I wasn't making any noise, and I was like, and I was screaming. You were like, no, you were making. Either you said I wasn't. What did you say that you could hear me in there, or could you not? Yeah. So he basically, I felt like I was hitting the tub, like I hit the side of the tub. But, like, it felt like I was so weak that it wasn't even hitting the tub. But in reality, I was actually hitting the tub.
Really fucking hard. Making a lot of noise. So I do end up calling an ambulance because there's no other way to shut him the fuck up.
Yeah, I remember. I feel like I kind of heard you on the phone.
Oh, let me tell you
Yeah,
how this fucking phone conversation went. So, granted, I'm tripping just as much balls.
Yeah, I mean, we took the same amount.
And I'm on the phone with 911, and I'm like, yeah, so my buddy took a lot of acid and is freaking out and making a lot of noise in my bathroom, and I really don't want the cops to be called for a noise complaint, and he's just begging me for an ambulance. Is there any possible way that you could send somebody over? And she's like, yeah, let me get somebody over there real quick. And they just sent an ambulance.
And firemen too.
Firemen too. But as soon as they got there, I'm wearing a Superman tank top. Granted, everybody, I have a Superman tattoo on my chest, for anybody that doesn't know.
Also known as Superman throughout most of Lenawee County.
And mainly Ann Arbor. So, I go outside tripping balls. My hair is like a giant poof ball. And I go out there and I'm skinny as fuck. And the fucking dude from the ambulance, the paramedic, comes out and he's like, alright, so what's going on? He's like, is there anybody with weapons in there? Or like anything we should be aware of? I was like, no. He's just tripping balls, man. Like, just making a lot of noise. And he just wanted me to get somebody who could, like, make him feel better. And they're like, all right, so that's it? Just on ass out. I was like, yeah. And he gets on his walkie-talkie. Firemen haven't even come
And
out
this
yet.
is in the apartment, isn't it? I know.
No, I was out in the parking lot.
Okay.
Just talking to these fucking
Yeah, 'cause
paramedics.
he got on his walkie-talkie in the apartment when I remember that.
Yeah, well, he fucking gets on his walkie out there, and he's like, yeah, scene is clear. I was like, what's that mean? And he's like, no, we're just going to go in and see what's up. So they walk in and see Matt fully clothed.
In the bathtub.
In the bathtub with his cat, with green hair slicked back.
It was a dude that looked like the dude from Parks and Recreation, the serious guy with the mustache. He just looked like that dude, but like taller and more muscular. He looked like a fireman basically, but I want to say he was an ambulance guy. He was like, I don't remember what he said. When
he's like, hey, Matt. How you doing?
Yeah, how you doing, buddy?
And you were like, I'm so high. Those were your exact fucking words. I'm so high. And he's like, oh, what all did you take? And you're just like, it's just a lot of acid, man. He's like, all right, well, let's get you out of that tub real quick and get you in some dry clothes.
the best part.
And he walks you out.
He walks me to the living room and he's like,
you
you got any other pants? You got any good pants? I said, this is my only pair. I was like, this is my best pair. But I didn't have any other pants. I want to say, like, I just had
They were
one.
probably dirty or something. But you were just like, no, this is my best pair.
Yeah.
And you left them on soaking wet.
Yeah, and my shirt too, because I wasn't about to take my shirt off because I was tripping balls and. Oh my god! I was
So let me tell my little part before he gets into his crazy next experience.
Yeah, that part is what really takes off.
So they walk him out to the ambulance and get him in there or whatever. I'm just like, all right, so now what? And they're just like, well, we're just gonna take him to the hospital, just pump him full of fluids and have him chill out. And I was like, all right, so am I supposed to be expecting like anybody to come over, or should I go get him? He's like, we'll give you a call in a couple hours. It's like, okay. So I sat in that fucking apartment for a couple hours, tripping balls, worrying my ass off that Matt might actually be dying in an ambulance, and I have no car, and I know he's going to the U of M, which is on the other side of the fucking town. And all I have is a fucking skateboard.
Fuck yeah, it was on the other side of town.
All right, now you can tell you.
All right, god damn it. Getting to the hospital was a lot easier than getting back. That's the first thing I'm gonna fucking say. So I'm in the back of this ambulance. They like had me. I like remember getting picked up off the ground on the stretcher and put in the back of the ambulance and everything. And I'm sitting in the back of this fucking ambulance with this asshole, this guy. And at first, I was being so nice to him because I was just so happy that I was with professionals. To be honest, I was just
the devil.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, thank God you guys are here, man. And I'm like saying all this stupid shit to him, like shit you say when you're too high. And I was like, I can't breathe. And he's like, you're breathing. Just looking at me and saying that to my face, be like, you're breathing. And I'm like, well, it's really hard to do though. I was like, I can't. Blah blah, you know. He's like, no, it says here you're breathing fine, and he's just looking at his little tablet, and in my brain I'm like, you're not a real good person. You're not an ambulance worker. Who is this guy? Like, he just was sitting there just looking at the, like, in my head when I get like an ambulance comes and they're like in the back with you, like I feel like they should try to comfort you, like bedside manner, right? But this guy was sitting there looking at his. Whatever the fuck, might as well have been a BlackBerry, and he's looking at it like, he says you're fine. And I was like, meanwhile, I'm like coming in and out of reality.
Playing
I'm
like fucking Candy Crush. It's like,
yeah, essentially.
High school,
And I'm
bro.
laying there on the gurney, and I'm like coming in and out of my body. Like, I remember like floating above myself, and I remember when I would hear myself talk or him talk, it was like slowed down. It was like late timed, or it was like if you were watching a movie and the lips move but the words come out like a little bit later. It was like that, but double. It was like double vision but with sound. It was the weirdest fucking shit I've ever been through. And this is all in the back of the ambulance while they're like speeding through Ann Arbor with the siren going and like going around turns like on the fucking Joker in the Dark Knight when like, you know, and he's got his wet hair and he's like going, ah.
He just hangs his head out the
Yeah,
window.
he's just hanging out the window. It was like that, but like without hanging out the window, but in the back of the ambulance. And just because they would,
just like,
because they would take a turn and I'm just in the gurney strapped down. And so this is a really good part. We get to the hospital.
they probably did that just to fuck with you.
Yeah, they're like, this guy's really high on acid. All right. And so we get to the hospital, and I remember getting taken in the front doors, right in there in the front doors, because that's where they pull up. And I get into the building, and I'm just sitting there on the gurney before they figure out where they're going to take me. And I'm sitting there in the lobby, essentially, bro. The lobby of the hospital, just on this gurney, with my wet, stupid Joker hair, fucking, and I'm just fucking high as balls, just staring at the ceiling, just like, and and I hear the receptionist, like the lady that was like 15 feet away from me behind the desk, sitting down on the phone with somebody, and she was like, "Oh my God, Karen, you won't believe what's going on right now. And she's on the phone and she's like, there's some fucking kid, 17 years old. Or wait, was I? No, I was older. I was like,
I think you were like.
I think
19.
she said no. I was 19. Yeah, she said 19 years old, high as fuck on acid, in my lobby right now. I don't remember if she said that I had green hair or not, but I remember her saying high as fuck and like as her age, and the lady was just blown the fuck away, and that this was happening, and so I get wheeled up to some room in this corner, and I have like this big personal corner room, cause like they've got this corner room in the corner, and then they got little tiny beds all around it.
Yeah.
So I'm like in this fucking big ass room, and they put me on the thing, and the first fucking thing they do is take all my fucking clothes off. I might as well have been abducted by aliens, dude, because there's nothing I could do about it. Cause I'm just like too high, and I'm laying there, and they're like, "All right, can you put your arms above your head?" And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "We need to take your clothes off because they're all wet." And I'm like, I can't move. I don't know, because I just felt like I couldn't move because what happened. I guess the doctor told me later on is that when you take a lot of acid, too much acid, it drains your spinal fluid. And I guess I just took a little bit too much because I had taken the little bit before you had taken yours, so I was on just too much, and it's drained my fucking spinal fluid, and that's why I felt like I was paralyzed. And so I'm laying there and like I can't move. So literally, I have like a doctor behind me, and then like a nurse on one side, and nurse over here, and they're like one of them's a chick. So I was like, no, yeah. and they just start undressing me basically. And then they put a little fucking bib on me. They put the bibs with the ass out on you, dude. And I'm just laying there in this fucking bed with a bib on. And the doctor comes up finally. Because I'm sitting there just like wide-eyed, like just the worst looking person you can imagine on drugs. And I'm just laying there. And the doctor comes in. He's like, all right, what's your name? You know, like, what's your information? Because I had nothing on me. I had no wallet, no phone, and no anything because I had gotten the fucking tub and I took everything out of my pockets. So I'm like, I tell him my name. I might have told him where I lived. I don't even know if I remember the address by heart. That's fucked up. And they're like, all right, well, of course they're gonna
Honestly,
ask.
I remember having a hard time trying to remember the address.
There's a weird address
To tell the paramedics when I was trying to get them to come over. They're like, all right, well, where
Hidden
you
Valley. It was Hidden Valley.
at? I was like, I like gave them a couple different addresses that I remember.
yeah, you're probably like, it's crossing that bank over there, and. But yeah, so I give them all my information. But they're like, do you have any insurance? Of course. And I'm like, which I did, technically, because my mom's a nurse. So I just was like, my mom's a nurse. And she used to work here. And so I like told them that, and they were like, well, blah, blah, blah. So I told them her name, and I guess they found her. I don't know what the fuck happened. They found me because I got a bill from the ambulance company. And I got many bills about that shit. So I told the fucking doctor my shit, and they pumped me up. They put the IV in me and pumped me with fluids, and I fucking watched, because I was too high and I was too freaked out. I watched TV Land for about an hour, at least an hour, maybe two. And I just remember sitting there watching TV Land, and then I finally calmed down enough where I was like, my heart was at a normal pace, but I was still. Oh, well, yeah, this is where we're getting to.
Oh, sorry.
Because I was there for a fucking hot minute, dude. I was there for like 4 hours.
That's right.
So
meanwhile, I'm just like.
Yeah, well, I was high too, you know. So I'm in the hospital though, and so I'm sitting there watching TV Land, like Bonanza type shit, you know, like howdy partner, but it's not what's his nuts, John Wayne, because I couldn't, you know, pay him enough or whatever. It's just like the shittiest old TV shows you could think of, and I finally calmed down, and then I'm like, all right, because I gave me the remote, you know. So they're like, watch whatever, calm down so you can get the fuck out of here. And I'm like, okay. And then after that, I calmed down. I put on Anaconda, and I was like, oh shit, Anaconda's on with Ice Cube, which I think is the second one.
I think that is the second.
And so I start watching that, and I'm like getting into it, and I'm like, I just remember the movie was real scary and good because I was real high. And the fucking nurse comes in, and I'll never forget this fucking nurse. And he looked like Shaggy from Scooby Doo because he had like a little soul patch type deal and like a little goatee.
Mm-hmm.
And he came in, and he had like a heart to heart with me about acid. It was so funny. He came in, he was like, "Hey man, how you doing?" I was like, "I'm doing a little bit better." Like still high as fuck. And he's like, "Yeah, cool, good. Yeah, I just wanted to come in, make sure you're doing all right." And he was like, "Oh, Anaconda. That's a good one." I'm like, "Yeah." And like at this moment, the snake is like eating a person, and I'm just sitting there watching it. And I'm like talking to him and not even looking away. You know what I mean? I'm like talking to this guy, watching the movie, like just like so fucking just retarded. And
Yeah, that's a good one.
and he like kind of like, I'll never forget this shit. He like this is when I looked over at him. He was like, "Yeah, you're never really gonna find what you're looking for."
No, he didn't.
I swear to God. And he was like, "Yeah, I used to dabble back in the day, I used to take acid." He was like, "You're never really gonna, find what you're looking for." He just kept saying that shit and like never really went into depth about it. And I was like, "I'm not doing this shit ever again, man." And I remember telling him that. And of course I went on to do it again. Never in that abundance. But I was like, I'm never fucking doing this shit again. I might as well have been in church talking to the fucking priest about shit. You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm not. Like, God's my witness. It was like that intensity in that hospital room. And he's like, "All right, cool, man. So you're gonna need to eat something so we can let you go." And he pulls. I don't even know where he got it from. He like pulled it out of his back pocket or something, like a whole clipboard.
Like a menu?
A menu, essentially, but it was, like, typed out. Like, it was literally just, like, it looked like something that you'd get in school, like a fill-out. But it just looked like, it was just little bulletin points with all the food.
Of what you want.
Yeah, what you could order from the hospital cafeteria. Because it's Gucci, because it was Ann Arbor. So he was like, "I suggest the macaroni and the chocolate cake." He's like, "And if you eat that, we can let you go." And I was like, I'll never forget this shit either. I was still pretty high, so I was like, sweet, I could still enjoy some of this acid while I'm not having a bad trip. Because I was past the bad trip at this point, so I just wanted to be fucking free.
Right.
So at that point, I was like psyched to just eat something and get the fuck out of there. So they bring me the cake and the macaroni. Best cake and the best macaroni I've ever fucking had in my life. I don't know if it was because of the drugs or not, but I ate it. They came in and inspected everything, and they're like, "All right, well, your clothes are dry." They must have put them in a dryer or something. And so they give me this see-through bag, and they tell me, they're like, "All right, we just walk across the hall, and there's a bathroom." So literally, like in the movies, I walked out of my little room about 10 feet that way and then 2 feet into the bathroom with nothing but my bib on. So my ass was showing in this hospital.
Was that one of your first times ever in a bib?
My only time.
Really?
My only time in a bib.
I've been in lots of bibs.
Oh, God. Don't you have a fucking story about your fucking urethra having a thing in it?
Yeah, I got lots of stories.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This is not my story.
That's a terrible story that we'll have to tell one day. But yeah, so I walked to the bathroom, and I remember looking in the mirror and just looking at myself and being so fucking ashamed of myself. And I was like, God damn, look at you. Look at you. It was like a movie, dude. It was like, oh, I might as well have been like Ben Stiller or something, just looking in the mirror and being like, saying absurd shit to myself. Because I was looking at myself and I was just like, oh my God, you look so fucking stupid right now. Because my hair looked all fucking nuts. Look, I look crazy as fuck. And I'm just in that hospital bib. And I changed into my clothes. And then And I just went and sat down in the bed, or sat on the bed, because I was just waiting for someone to be like, all right, you can go. And I'm sitting there waiting for the fucking doctor, and he comes in. And I wish I had this piece of paper. I think I gave it to Olivia. I don't remember. But the piece of paper, it said, do not do acid. Acid is bad for you. And it had like a little thing of quick facts about acid, and it like was my bill essentially. but it said that shit on there, and it like had the doctor's signature and everything. And he was like, "Here's this, just read over." And he like kind of gave me a look. He didn't like say anything to me, but he knew that what the paper said. You know, he's like, "This fucking says acid is bad, but I'm not gonna say that to you. I'm just gonna give you the paper, like, because you're a man, even though you're just a little boy who's really high in my fucking hospital right now." And yeah, they gave me the paper and they let me go. And they're like, how are you gonna get home? I was like, I don't know. I don't even know where the fuck I'm at, you know. I was like, I don't know. They're like, can you call somebody? I was like, I don't know any phone numbers. Because like, I mean, back then, yeah, you should have had some numbers memorized, because everyone had cell phones, but it was back when you still knew like numbers, unlike now. Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, can you call anybody? And I was like, I don't know. Nope. And they gave me a fucking bus token, which I still have to this day, which I'll cherish, and like it's gonna go in my coffin or in my ashes. A little bus token this big, and it just says one ride. And I remember walking to this little bus station outside of the hospital, and no fucking bus ever came.
I always forgot to ask if you ever tried to use the bus token,
Yeah.
or if you just gave up on it.
No, this is the extended cut, man. This is the whole story. So yeah, I get to the bus station. No one fucking comes. No bus. No one like opens the door and says, "Hey, are you coming in?" Nobody. So I'm like, well, shit, because it's like starting to it's dusk at this point. It's getting dark, and so I walk. Oh my fucking god! I walk. And I just literally, it's to the point where it's like a fucking movie. Like I'm in a different country and I'm talking to people on the street, random fucking people I don't fucking know. And I'm like, hey, and I'm like wigged out looking. I wouldn't have wanted to talk to me if I was if this kid came up to me and was asking me directions. And they were all nice to me. I was like, you guys know where downtown is at? Like, which way to downtown? I'm like literally asking people which way things are.
Downtown.
And they're like, yeah, that way. They just point, and I just start walking in that fucking direction. And oh my god, dude! I get downtown, and when I see downtown, I'll never forget, dude. It was like, it might as well, even though it was still dark, there was no lights. It might as well have been like bright as fuck. Like it might as well have been like shining lights, like Mecca, like fucking. Because I was like, oh my fucking god, I did it. And I remember being so happy that I just remember like pretty much skipping through all downtown. I was so high that I didn't care what anyone thought. And
then you got all the way to Olivia's.
No, Aaron. I got all the way to our fucking apartment.
Oh no, that's right! This is where in the movie it shifts to the fucking a quick flashback.
Hey, I get all the way to our apartment, which I don't even know how fucking long it took.
It's a long walk.
I don't even fucking know, because however long it takes to get from the hospital to downtown, and then from downtown to the apartment, and I fucking get there, and because I had nothing on me, and Aaron wasn't fucking there, I get to the apartment and I can't get in. I had to wait for someone to show up and open the door just to get into the complex. Because that apartment, you had to open the door to get into the actual apartment. Mm-hmm. So I was stuck outside for a hot 20 fucking minutes in that frigid snow tundra. And had I known the rest of the story, I should have just slept in that fucking hallway. Because I'm like, fuck, I can't get in. And it's like really like small hallways, so it would have been really awkward to sleep outside my door like a lost cat. And I was like, God knows when Aaron's going to get back. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. You know, I have no fucking clue. I have no phone, no way to contact him. So I'm like, I only know one other person in this whole fucking town. I didn't even know if she was going to be home or not. So I walked to fucking Olivia's house at God knows what time it is. It's dark at this point. thank God I used to walk there all the time before, so I knew how to get there in the dark. So I get to her house. This is like another hour walk.
Easily.
Easily. And I fucking... Her light is on up in the upstairs apartment because she owns... It had a downstairs and an upstairs. And her bedroom light was on, so I was like, holy shit. I was like, yes. And I knock on the door. And no one answers. And I'm like, what the fuck? She's got to be here. Like, unless she just let the light on. So I'm knocking. And I just give up. And I'm like, it was, oh, dude, it's like a sad movie. I literally just sat. She had a little mini area in front of her apartment outside where you could sit down. And it had like a little bar stools. And I sat on that fucking bar stool, perched up like a fucking owl or something, and just cuddling myself for warmth. And I was sitting there with my little sweatshirt on and shit. And then fucking like probably half an hour goes by. So all this time, you gotta think about all this fucking time that goes into this story. And I'm sitting there, and I'm not even high anymore at this point. I'm just like really fucking cold in survival mode. Just like, I really hope someone gets home soon. Because it was to the point where I couldn't walk back to the apartment. I was like, I'm not fucking walking back there.
Right.
And because like God knows when it was so late that who knows when someone's going to come home and actually open that door for me. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't get back into the hallway even. So I was literally going to sleep in that fucking chair if I had to. And I was sitting there, and then out of like a fucking blessing, dude, her boyfriend at the time, I can't remember his name right now, Logan, comes up, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, bro. I was like, man, it's Matt. And he was like, Matt? Like, his whole mood changed. Like, at first he was like, hey, because, he thinks he's talking to, like, some homeless fucking person. And because Olivia had heard me knocking the whole fucking time, but didn't know I was coming because I didn't say anything. So she was, like, freaking out, thinking someone was, like, trying to lure her down, which just totally makes sense. Yeah. And I'm just sitting out there, and then Logan comes up. He's like, man, let's go inside. So I'm sitting inside, and Olivia explains to me why she didn't open the door. And then she was like, what's going on? Why are you here? It's late, And I'm like in tears at this point because I'm just so happy I'm not cold. I'm coming down off the acid. I'm like sober, and I'm like just relieved that I'm inside. And I tell her, I'm like, I fucked up. Like, I just got out of the hospital. I took all this acid. And she was so nice to me. She was like, oh no. And then she just took care of me for like the next 2 days or whatever it was. And just, it's so funny. She even made me these little dog tags that have her phone number on it in case I ever get lost again without a phone. So with her phone number on them so that someone could call her. It says, in case of emergency, the ICE, I-C-E. It's so fucking funny.
Oh, but.
Yeah, not even the end of the story. She's like, it's the next day because I sleep at her house, I think.
No.
Was it really that?
Did you forget all about when you met back up with me?
That's what I'm saying. Because when we met,
it was the same day.
It was bright out though. There was sun, wasn't there?
And it was the same day.
Wow. It must have been like 6 a.m. in the morning. The sun must have just come up.
Well, what had happened was, it wasn't that long.
I just don't know how the sun was out because I remember.
Maybe it just seemed really dark.
Dude, I don't even know. Was it nighttime when we picked you up? When we saw you?
I mean, it might have been getting dark. But this is what happened. Me freaking out for at least a good 2 fucking hours at the apartment. Still tripping balls. Not having help. Worrying about your ass. And not being able to get a hold of you. And know what's going on. Eventually, I was just like, well, nobody's showing up. So, I guess I'll go to the bar.
I wish you just wouldn't have locked that door. It's the only thing I have to say about anything.
I know.
Oh, but it makes
Had I known what had happened to you.
Oh my god, dude. Aaron, the story would have been so much shorter if the door was unlocked. Could you imagine the relief I would have had if I got into the apartment by myself and then by fucking luck that door was unlocked? Like, I would have came in my fucking pants. But alas, that's not how the story goes.
So
Anyway, yeah, continue. Sorry.
I go to the bar for a couple hours. And I've basically run up too big of a tab, and it's time to go home.
Maybe it was dark out. Maybe it was just only like 1 a.m. or something. Because what time does B-Dubs close? 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was like 3 a.m. because I remember Olivia was like, "All right, well, you want to go look for Aaron?" And I was like, "We could try, I guess." Okay, I mean, like I had no ambition at this point. I know it wasn't my idea to leave, is what I'm saying. And so me and her get in the car, and we just drive downtown Main Street, and where B-Dubs is at, because she's like, "Where would he be?" And I'm like, "Probably." I mean, I only know the only place he would go was B-Dubs, because it's not like you fucking knew anyone in Ann Arbor, besides maybe Ben and those apartments, but you never really went there.
Yeah.
So I was like, he's got to be at B-Dubs, probably. And so I'll never forget this shit, we're driving. And Olivia rolls her window down. She's like, "Hey, little boy, you want some candy?" And you're like, "What the fuck?" And then you saw that I was in the car. And then you're like, "That? What?"
My fucking mind was blown.
Dude, my mind was fucking blown.
So I hopped in the car when we went home, and you explained to me what had happened.
Told you the long, long story.
And I told you my long, long story.
Such a crazy story.
Good times.
Well, it just happens that story was exactly as long as we needed for the podcast today. So this will just be. I mean, we'll go into more crazy stories later on. Next show will probably be more of what we've been doing beforehand, but
This was a good.
it was definitely a good go for the story. I've told the story many times, but I feel like it was good to get it recorded for once.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
So you don't have to tell it a million more.
I swear to God, if someone asks me about that story, I'm just telling them to go to the podcast because that's the whole story. There's nothing left out of that. That is 100% real. I mean, shit.
And to hear this podcast, all you got to do is go to SoundCloud and look up Pigs and Shit.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be putting on Spotify and other platforms soon. But as of now, this is the easiest thing to do, and we don't really have any followers or listeners right now anyway, so it's fine.
You can also email us at, what is it?
The email is pigsinshit, PIGSIN shit 69 at gmail.com. So pigsinshit69 at gmail.com. And if anyone fucking messages us, we will take that message to heart, and if you have an idea for a podcast, we'll do it. So, thanks for listening.
Till next time, piggies.
Till next time.